Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day?
Hello everyone, my name is Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is July 26th, 2025, and this is your last chance. This is your last chance before the big move. This move has been in the works for almost a year. Okay, for almost a year, Bitcoin has been at a macro top, and some whales get the message or got the message, and others won't learn until it's too late. So we're going to look at Bitcoin as per usual. We're going to also look at why we're excited for a massive move up in altcoins despite Bitcoin being on the precipice of a large drop. So if all that sounds interesting to you, then watch until the very end. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's get into it. Let's start with Bitcoin on the hourly time frame. Okay, this is a move that has taken place now on the hourly time frame for about 10 days. As you can see right here, this triangle, I called it a regular range last episode, but to be honest, upon further examination, I think it's quite clear that we're dealing with a rare symmetrical triangle reversal. Okay, symmetrical triangles aren't rare. They're seen as continuation patterns. So let's say you're in a bullish trend, right? You'll have your triangle like so, and then you'll have your continuation. Same with the bearish trend, you'll have a triangle and then continuation. Those are commonplace. But what's rare is that you get up to a point, a top, and you put in a symmetrical triangle like we see right here and break down from that. You typically have what we know to be a range, right? And we call that a Wyckoff distribution range, and you break down from that. Obviously, if you zoom out and you look at the wider scope of things, right? Maybe on the daily time frame, Bitcoin has indeed been in a range, all right? So when I talk about, having a reversal pattern or being in a distribution channel for almost a year, that range is clear, right? You can see that here. It's been 280 days now, and you're at the top of the range, okay? And I get how certain people are seeing this as a bullish pattern, right? If you also go on the high time frame and you look, you're maybe thinking, oh, it's gonna go up. This is bullish continuation. It's gonna continue, right? But upon further examination, just looking at this range unto itself, that is very, very bearish. Very bearish that you've been in a range like this and you've matriculated in this way. And then this in particular, when you zoom in, okay? So, I mean, I'm not going to fault people for not being able to read this or for thinking it's one way or the other. But I think the technicals underline the bearishness of it, whether you're just looking at price action or whether you're looking at indicators. All right. And so what I see here is this symmetrical triangle, which is clearly a symmetrical triangle, acting as some sort of reversal pattern. You break down from it, you retest the midline of the symmetrical triangle, because as always, even symmetrical triangles can be taken as ranges. They're essentially ranges that confer upon a certain region of activity. So instead of being completely orthogonal, it's basically the fact that buyers and sellers have agreed more or less at the fair market value of the asset they have a better agreement, a stronger agreement as to the fair market value of the asset rather than in a regular range where there's a wider range of wider range of consensus or a wider range of opinion as to what the fair market value of the asset is. But as always, the range in itself always breaks from the midline. So what I'm seeing here is you break down, retest the midline, and at that midline, then you break. Okay? And that break's likely going to look like this. You got to retest the bottom support, retest it as resistance before you fly down. So that's what I'm seeing, just looking at the price action. And I posted something on Twitter saying that the breakdown is confirmed just because we have this breakdown of the pattern. And then actually further confirmation is the retest coming to our midline, which is something that we expect. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. And I want to look very closely, or not very closely, but just cursorily, quickly at an indicator that CoinGlass provides, and it's the whale orders and large trades. And I want to just draw your attention to the trades going on here. As you can see, you're not necessarily, it's not a good look for any bulls, insofar as the orders to the top are thick. The sell orders to the top are thick. I just want to draw your attention to the rectangles and the lines, right? So the red lines are the sell orders, and if you just have a quick look, it may seem as if the buy orders and the sell orders, so the green lines, are pretty much the same as the red lines, which is why you created this 12-day triangle, which is pretty much, I wouldn't say it's inaccurate, but if you really pay attention, if you look below, you see the buyers are slim to none, especially down here, right? And then you go up top, the sell orders are thick, and they're thick not just here, but all the way where we're at 118, all the way to 150. Sell orders are ready. So basically all I'm trying to say here is, just looking at the on-chain data, you can see there's really heavy selling pressure on Bitcoin at this point in time. That is very important. I'm not an on-chain data kind of guy. I look at it from time to time, but I just thought that was interesting. But I think you can also, I think you can see all of this stuff on the charts. No indicators necessary. The price action really is telling here. Okay. So again, just looking at Bitcoin on the higher time frame, it doesn't look good for continuation. And I've said this before, for one main reason. And that main reason is you spent 280 days in a channel. And I think some people try to debate whether this is a channel or not. But I think it's quite clear it's a channel. And this is clearly a midline. And to break a channel, you have to retest the midline. And that's never happened. That midline is around 90K. So there's no way Bitcoin breaks here without coming down here. That is the most bullish scenario, coming back to the midline, retesting it, and then continuing. So at the very least, even if you were bullish, you want to come back to 90K to even have a healthy continuation up and out of this 280-day channel. There's no scenario in which you don't go down to at least 90K. Now, what I'm saying is that we're going down much further because, on the higher time frame, you have a really, really, really likely support level that needs to be retested between 58 and 60K. And that first step is the breakdown to 100K and then a subsequent breakdown. So, yeah, this is the last chance insofar as this is going to start retest, and then it's going to just keep going impulsively all the way down to our target of 5860K. Now, why am I saying this? And I know not all of you are confused about this. Those of you who follow the channel and watch my work regularly aren't confused about it, but for those of you who may just have tuned in on the off chance, seen like a snippet, there you may be asking, and I see this in the comments sometimes, well, are altcoins going to go down too? Yes, if Bitcoin goes down, altcoins go down. But you have to, not every retracement is the same. A retracement in Bitcoin season where Bitcoin is dominant really kills altcoins. I mean, they go down and they go down hard, they lose and break structure, they make lower lows, all that stuff. But a retracement in altcoin season has altcoins retracing to key support levels and bouncing off of it and then going into or continuing bullish structure. Big difference. So from where we're at right now, the retracement down to 100K is about a 15-16% move. I expect altcoins to do that 15 to 20% thereabouts, like comparable with Bitcoin. Okay, and as you can see here, altcoins are also very likely to retrace down to their next logical level of support. Actually, so if you're bullish on altcoins, you want this retracement. You need this retracement because basic technical analysis demands it. It demands that this resistance that was broken early July be retested as support before continuation. That's exactly what we're waiting for in altcoins. So we're expecting this drop, okay? This is very clear on the total 3 chart. Okay, when you're looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart, it's also quite clear what's likely to happen, okay? You're likely to get a big, well, relatively big move up to the midline of this channel, because once again, channels do not break from the tops or bottoms, they break from the midlines. And if we expect alt season to continue with a major fall of Bitcoin dominance, then we need the midline of this larger channel of many months, okay? Specifically 180 days, we need the midline of that channel to be retested as resistance. So that's what you're expecting. You're expecting a fall in altcoins, a fall in Bitcoin, and a midline retracement. So this retracement in altcoins is healthy. Now, when I say altcoins, I'm talking about altcoins on support. The clients in crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation know exactly what I'm talking about. Talk about it all the time. There are certain altcoins that are not on support, which you don't want anything to do with. And that will not necessarily keep structure. They're not even close to being in bullish structure, and they're looking to free fall. And when I name some of those altcoins, people think I'm mad. Those altcoins, some of those altcoins that have completely, no structure, no bullish structure to speak of before a large retracement, are altcoins that people are the most bullish on. Okay, and I'm not going to repeat myself, but one such altcoin is Ethereum. Okay, I've given that openly on this public YouTube. Ethereum is not in any way, shape, or form bullish right now. Does that mean Ethereum's bad? No. Does that mean Ethereum's not going to have a bull market? No. It just means it's not on support, actually. So if you look at Ethereum, and we're going to do this before we close out, it is right now at the top of a channel. Again, there's no debate that this right here in teal or in turquoise is a channel, and that's a 1200-day channel, and you're at the top of the channel. Okay, I don't know how that's a debate. I don't know how that's controversial. If you're arguing over the fact that whether this is a channel or not, I don't know. You can try and convince yourself that it's not. It is what it is. Okay, if this indeed is a channel, which your eyes should tell you it is, then by definition, it needs to retrace to the bottom of the channel. The analysis is simple. But the thing is, people don't like to hear it, and it doesn't make sense with what they believe to be true, with their definitions of what a cycle is, with their definitions for what Ethereum should be doing in a bull market, in an alt season, how it should lead alt season. That's where people fall short, or that's where people really have issues. I feel like the analysis is straightforward enough that most people, I'd say, any competent technical analyst can make this read. And if not without the prejudices of, you know, the actual asset being Ethereum and their investments in it, they would tell you, yeah, bottom of the channel right here, because it's a channel and you go top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom. And why bottom and why not midline? Well, because you haven't done one of those midline rejections, a sufficient midline rejection or respect of the midline, whereby a move to the top of the channel then is followed by a retest of the midline before breaking the channel. Here, you just went up to from the bottom to the top, means you go back to the bottom. That's it. That's the simple read on Ethereum. It's not complicated. What makes it complicated, once again, in my estimation, is what you think about what Ethereum needs to be, what it needs to do, how it needs to lead an alt season, what a cycle is. All that stuff is completely marring the very clear and clean read on Ethereum's chart. And another thing that I've seen that people do on Twitter, huge accounts, they'll go, and I'm not kidding, and I'm not trying to shit on anybody, it just is what it is. They'll go on the hourly chart and they'll say Ethereum's in a rising wedge. I've seen this analysis so many times. Or what is this? An ascending triangle. It's bullish pattern and it's gonna break out. And yes, sure, that is true. But again, it's not true if you zoom out and consider the higher time frame. And technical analysis 101, we all know the higher time frame read trumps it. It supersedes, right, by order of operations, the smaller time frame read, right? So, you know, just be careful, right? All your indicators should tell you as much. If you're into indicators, you can see the same thing, but you can see it in the price action. But Ethereum, for instance, it will go down, not in one fell swoop, but something like this, right? But it will go down. Just because it bounces, it's not necessarily going to make a higher high. It's going to make a higher low, right? So be very careful. For those of you who are in Ethereum, my clients know I've been talking about this for a very long time, but that's one that I'll give on the public YouTube. If you're interested in my analysis, going one-on-one, looking at the assets that you're involved with, you're invested in, where to get in, where to sell, maximize your gains, check out the Crypto Portfolio Mentorship and Consultation Service. You can sign up for at the pinned comment below. And that's pretty much it. Like, share, and subscribe. Consider, you know, tipping. All at the pinned comment below. Venmo, Cash App, Litecoin. Yeah. So that's it. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Endeavors to occupy my prevalent time slot. I vocalize, too deep to localize. Even when I'm right on the surface, you act surprised how I work this, but I can't lie. Many a good alibi. I'll catch you later.
Visions are vividly enhanced with emphasis and amethyst to develop morale advantages which help us manifest magnanimous. We body vitals like evangelists. So listen when you're dealing with people who be revealing premonitions with precision. At least that's what I'm aiming at for now. I speak the language of the world, meandering throughout the crowd. Used to feel safe to say anything, but now it's a risk. It's hard for me to let go when all I can do is reminisce. Gone like the wind, here's where I begin. Should I smile or should I